spice must flow. Spice must flow.
It's time to start the magic on the Globus show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus show. See the sights, so much to join the fun in a world where adventure is never done. Every corner we turn, a new friend in tow. It's time to start the magic on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show. See the sights, so much to know. Across the lands, hand in hand, we join the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus Show, where every day's a brand new episode.
On the Globus Show, on the Globus Show,
It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show.
on the Globus Show, on the Globus Show.
It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show. 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 On the Globus
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Larry. Good morning, PETA. Good morning, lurkers. Good morning, bots. PETA, you find great dancing emotes. Good stuff. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Thursday. It is May 30th. May 30th, 2024. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay notified. All right. To the news. DARPA intends to wirelessly charge drones while in flight by power beaming. DARPA has committed further funding for far-field wireless power transfer, or power beaming, to wirelessly charge drones in flight without them ever having to abandon mission to recharge or swap out dead batteries, potentially saving critical missions. Dr. Ifana Mabub, an assistant professor of electrical and computer engineering at the University of Texas, had already received the Young Faculty Award from DARPA in 2021, giving her $500,000 over 2 years for her project. The fellowship offers an additional $250,000 in funding to continue development of the power beaming technology. You may already be familiar with the wireless charging technology. Some cell phones already use near-field wireless technology to top up your battery by using low-frequency electromagnetic waves over a very short distance. It seems like black magic, but in practice, it's not all that complicated. Charging unit is a coil that creates an electromagnetic field. And the receiving end, like the coil in your phone, captures the electromagnetic waves, which creates an electrical current that is then fed into the battery. Mabub and her team are researching far field technology to send electromagnetic waves much further, specifically to eliminate entirely the need for a drone to return to base for a battery swap or to be charged, which can waste valuable time and resources, not to mention potentially being detrimental to the mission at hand. Why recall a UAV when you can simply charge its battery while it's still in flight? One of Mabub's biggest hurdles is preventing electromagnetic beams from scattering and losing power over large distances. Mabub has come up with a clever idea of using phased array antennas, a system of transmitters and smaller antennas to direct the electromagnetic beam along a specific path. The tech she's creating uses the telemetry of a UAV in real time to ensure a line of sight connection for maximum charging. The signal can go in undesired directions, Mabab says. Our goal is to engineer the waveform so that we can minimize the path loss. There are numerous other applications this technology could be used for. Think of electric cars traveling down a freeway while being charged. Mabab is also working on wireless charging technology that could be used at low frequency, safe, FCC approved level that could potentially charge medical implants in people. While it might sound scary to be sending these electromagnetic waves strong enough to charge a small aircraft through the air, we've already been doing similar for many years. Radio broadcasting, television broadcasting, cell phone service, radar, Wi Fi, and even GPS uses electromagnetic waves. Google AI introduces Agree, a machine learning framework that enables LLMs to self ground the claims in their responses and to provide precise citations. Maintaining the accuracy of large language models such as GPT is crucial, particularly in cases requiring factual accuracy like news reporting or educational content creation. Despite the impressive capabilities, LLMs are prone to generate plausible but non factual information known as hallucinations, usually when faced with open ended queries that require broad world knowledge. Google AI researchers introduced Agree to address the issue of hallucinations, where LLMs generate a response that is factually incorrect, nonsensical, or disconnected from the input prompt. Existing approaches to prevent hallucinations in LLM primarily include two methods: post hoc citing and prompting based grounding. Post hoc citing involves adding citations after generating responses, often using natural language inference models. However, this method relies heavily on the knowledge within the LLM's embeddings and faces challenges with facts beyond its training data, while prompting based grounding leverages the instruction following and in context learning capabilities of LLMs, but it's often ineffective, particularly in real world scenarios requiring high factual accuracy. The proposed solution, Agree, Adaptation for Grounding Enhancement, introduces a learning based framework that enables LLMs to self ground their responses and provide accurate citations. Agree takes a holistic approach by combining both learning based adaptation and test time adaptation. During training, Agree fine tunes LLMs using synthetic data from unlabeled queries, enabling them to self ground their claims by adding citations to the responses. Agree uses an iterative inference strategy during test time, which lets LLMs actively seek more information based on self generated citations which helps them improve their answers over and over again. In conclusion, Agree has effectively improved the issue of hallucinations in LLMs by working on their factuality and verifiability. By enabling LLMs to self ground their responses and provide accurate citations, Agree enhances their reliability, particularly in domains requiring high factual accuracy. Agree's approach. Agree's approach of combining learning based adaptation with test time adaptation provides a strong solution that works better than current approaches and can be used across a wide range of databases. Overall, Agree possesses the potential to promote reliable language models suitable for real world applications requiring high factual accuracy. And speaking of Google, tinfoil hat time, yeah. I assume that you're referring to the previous article about the DARPA. Uh, yeah. Reality doesn't matter. Okay, so recently there has been a leak of 2,500 internal documents from Google about search, and Google was not responding to whether or not they were real. And Google now confirms that the leaked search documents are, in fact, real. Collection of 2,500 leaked internal documents from Google filled with details about data the company collects is authentic, the company confirmed today. The documents in question detail data that Google is keeping track of, some of which may be used in its closely guarded search making ranking algorithm. The documents offer an unprecedented, though still murky, look under the hood of one of the most consequential systems shaping the world. We would caution against making inaccurate assumptions about search based on out of context, outdated, or incomplete information, Google spokesperson Davis Thompson told The Verge in an email. We shared extensive information about how search works and the types of factors that our systems weigh, while also working to protect the integrity of our results from manipulation. So, yeah. The leaked material suggests that Google collects and potentially uses data that company representatives have said does not contribute to ranking web pages in Google search, like clicks, Chrome user data, and more. The thousands of pages of documents act as a repository of information for Google employees, but it's not clear what pieces of data detailed are actually used to rank search content. The information could be out of date, used strictly for training purposes, or collected but not used for search specifically. Documents also do not reveal how different elements are weighed in search, if at all. Shifting gears to talk about UBI. New Mexico experimented with a basic income program that gave $500 a month to immigrant families. They used the money to pay rent and secure jobs. This is a common refrain when it comes to UBI type programs. The people use the money to pay their rent and to get better jobs. New Mexico's basic income pilot set out to fill a gap in America's financial safety net. Many immigrants aren't able to access help, contrary to what you may have heard. Pandemic era relief was largely restricted to U.S. citizens, leaving undocumented households and families with mixed citizenship status without stimulus, rental assistance, or unemployment checks. With growing economic need, community leaders in New Mexico decided to try a different strategy: no strings attached cash payments. Mixed status immigrant families don't always enjoy the same public benefits that other families and workers do because of their status. What does it look like for them to have an extra $500 a month? How does it affect food security, their health, their well being, and educational outcomes? Beginning in February of 2022, the Guaranteed Income Program served 330 mixed immigration status households. Participants received $500 a month, no strings attached, for a full year. 50 randomly selected households had their payments extended for an additional 6 months. The New Mexico Economic Relief Working Group, a coalition of community organizations and nonprofits, including Somos Un Pueblo Unido, New Mexico Voices for Children, and Up Together, administered the program, and funding came from private donors and philanthropy. The pilot joins the ranks of over 100 basic income pilots, over 100 that have launched since 2019 in the U.S. In contrast to traditional social services, the programs allow families to choose how they spend the money. Participants have told Business Insider they have used cash payments to pay rent, afford groceries, pay off debt, and support their families. New Mexico's program is among the first basic income programs to operate at the state level and to specifically serve immigrant households. The pilot's success has also provided momentum for future basic income programs in the region. A new state funded pilot cash program for people enrolled in workforce training programs passed in the New Mexico House in February. The $1 million project, which seeks approval in the state Senate, would help participants covering housing, food, and transportation for 3 years. It always works. It always works. Every single time UBI works. It works. It always works. It always works. Always. Shifting back to AI. Hardly any of us are using AI tools like ChatGPT, study finds. Here's why. AI is still strictly for early adopters, it seems. If you're feeling a bit overwhelmed or left behind by ChatGPT and other AI tools, fear not. A big new international study has found that most of us aren't using generative AI tools on a regular basis. The study from Reuters Institute and Oxford University via BBC, which surveyed over 12,000 people across 6 countries, seemingly reveals how little that AI hype has percolated down to real world use for now. Even among the people who have used generative AI tools like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, or Microsoft Copilot, a large proportion said they only use them once or twice. Only a tiny minority, 7% in the US, 2% in the UK, said they use the most well-known AI tool, ChatGPT, on a daily basis. A significant proportion of respondents in all countries, including 47% in the US and 42% in the UK, hadn't even heard of ChatGPT. This is just wild to me. This is just absolutely wild. Like, I understand not using it, right? Um, the primary issue you're going to run into in that regard is like, I already do things a particular way. Why should I add this extra step that I don't exactly understand and I'm going to need to learn how to use? Fine, right? No problem there. It's the idea that 47% of the people in the US surveyed hadn't even heard of ChatGPT. But after ChatGPT, the most recognized tools were Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, Snapchat My AI, Meta AI, Bing AI, and UChat. Trailing further behind those in terms of recognition were generative AI imagery tools like Midjourney plus Claude and the XAI's Grok 4X, formerly Twitter. But while the regular use of generative AI tools is low, the survey does provide some interesting insights on what the early dabblers are using them for. Shout out all my early dabblers. Broadly speaking, the use cases were split into two categories: creating media, and, more worryingly, given the issue of AI hallucinations, getting information. In the former, the most popular answer was simply playing around or experimenting, 11%, followed by writing an email or letter, 9%, and making an image, 9%. So, this is the kind of numbers that those of you within the sound of my voice who are using AI tools, you are in the early adopter range. So, congratulations for that. The top two answers in the getting information category were answering factual questions, 11%, and asking advice, 10%, both of which were hopefully followed by some corroboration from other sources. Most AI chatbots still come with prominent warnings about their propensity for making mistakes. For example, Google says Gemini could provide inaccurate information or could even make offensive statements. AI tools are arguably better for brainstorming and summarizing, and these were the next most popular use cases in the survey, with generating ideas mentioned by 9% of respondents, and summarizing text cited by 8% of people. But while the average person is still seemingly at the dabbling stage with generative AI tools, most people in the survey are convinced that the tools will ultimately have a big impact on our daily lives. When asked if they thought that generative AI will have a large impact on ordinary people in the next 5 years, 60% of 18 to 24-year-olds thought it would, with that figure only dropping to 41% among those who are 55 and older. All surveys have their limitations, and this one focuses mostly on standalone generative AI tools rather than examples of the technology that's baked into existing products, which means that AI is likely more widely used than the study suggests. Morning Cosmic. Still, its broad sample size and geographic breadth does give us an interesting snapshot of how the average person views and uses the likes of ChatGPT. The answer is that it remains very niche among consumers, with the report's lead author, Dr. Richard Fletcher, suggesting to the BBC that it shows there's a mismatch between the hype around AI and the public interest in it. Why might that be the case? The reality is that most AI tools, including ChatGPT, haven't yet convinced us that they're frictionless. There's that word again, that friction, right? Talk about it all the time. Or reliable enough to become a default part of our tech lives. This is why the focus of OpenAI's new GPT-4 Omni model, branding being another issue, it was a new lifelike voice assistant which was designed to help lure us into using it more regularly. Larry, most people surveyed are convinced that the tools will have a big impact on their daily lives, but then 47% have also never heard of it. It's quite a contrast. Yeah. Now, it could be in specificity, right? Like the idea that they haven't heard of ChatGPT, but they have heard of AI, right? Like that there's some nebulous thing called AI that is out there in the world and people are using it, but they don't know the name of a specific product. Still seems kind of weird to me. But again, standing as one of the early adopters, that also kind of makes sense that it would seem weird to me, right? Something that I'm using often is, and that other people are simply not. You have to remember that if too many people adopted at one time, the whole thing would fall over. Yeah, maybe. Um, Matt Wolf, in the video we watched last night, made the point about how he didn't think that OpenAI expected as many people to start using ChatGPT as did, right? So it's possible that there's something there, right? Um, to what you're saying, Cosmic, like the idea that only so many people, using it, that if it was a large volume, right? Because they do have to balance inference and training, right? And it could heavily impact the training side if more people were using it. All right. Ed Kim over here has a commentary that is in opposition to some of the commentary that we have heard, most specifically from Jensen Huang. AI will make coding skills more, not less valuable, and that's important. It's more important than ever for children to learn them. Year 2024 has continued to see the long awaited rise of generative AI in many aspects of life. Larry says, I'd like to meet one of these people who has never heard of ChatGPT but is convinced AI tools will have a big impact on their daily life. I would too. I would like to meet a bunch of these people. Every day we see news of the latest tools and developments to help with our needs, from generating a grocery list to coding a program. Artificial intelligence promises a bright future, an exciting prospect that also carries fears of the technology replacing humans and eliminating jobs. While the future is further ahead than many will claim, two facts remain true. AI and its fast growth present more opportunities rather than dangers, and we must continue to teach our children how to code so they can take advantage of the freedom of creativity that AI provides. Generative AI is driven using LLMs. Talking about LLMs. Generative AI can create base code with a simple prompt, but it still needs an engineer or programmer to check that code, understand what needs to be modified, and then apply it to the right context and use in a program. AI frees the programmer from debugging and instead allows for a focus on creativity. It lets us reinvent a better wheel, a wheel that more people can access and benefit from. With that in mind, consider the benefits of learning how to code in our increasingly technological world. Instead of having to go through hours of courses to learn basic code, we are free to be creative, to think critically, and to problem solve. With easier access to generating starting code, our children face lower barriers in learning how to use code to solve the problems of today and tomorrow. They can more freely collaborate, communicate, and create. The power of learning how to code is in the tangible skills of breaking down a problem piece by piece. I appreciate you, Alex. Thank you very much. Yeah, and if you're not following Alex, shout out Alex. I can't comment on that. Alex is high on my list of places I like to hang out when I'm not streaming myself. Alex is a true homie. Um, the power of learning how to code is in the intangible skills of breaking down a problem piece by piece. Did you not get the right above you there, Cosmic? Or are you speaking about a different link? Alex.ai. The power of learning how to code is in the intangible skills of breaking down a problem piece by piece and approaching it in different ways to find a solution. Coding is one of the best mediums to combine problem solving and technology. For example, take the case where you need to use generative AI to draft an email. You wouldn't simply copy and paste what your prompt yields. Some people would. You would read it through. You would read through it, evaluate the word choice and tone, and then make edits to ensure accuracy. This is what you should be doing. Yes. My son just started learning C sharp. So yeah, no. Apparently C sharp is a good one. At least that's what he tells me. AI provides a starting point, but you are ultimately responsible for the final product. This guy gets it. You use your critical thinking skills and creativity to apply the generated results in the way you want and need. Teaching our children how to code ensures that they can focus on their best work by being creative, modifying, and problem solving. They won't have to spend hours starting from scratch repeatedly or redoing work that's already been done. Excuse me. This also leads to the idea that it's not all, or that not all coding jobs will be eliminated, they will just evolve. Programming positions today require an intensive number of hours to learn and master the coding languages that a specific job requires, i.e., Python, C Sharp, etc. This requirement for highly specialized knowledge to be qualified for a job will go away as AI continues to improve. It will continue to be critical to learn how to code in the future, but the knowledge and training a program needs will shift from knowing how to leverage tools in AI programs rather than the hundreds of hours needed to master a specific programming language. While there is a long pathway ahead for generative AI to be 100% accurate and free of errors, there will be a time in the future when AI becomes the everyday tool to support our lives. Also, for every disruptive tool or invention, there are new jobs to improve and maintain such creation. Excuse me. In the programming world, there will always be a need for those who understand the code that drives the technology that we use. I don't know about always, again, right? Uh, but in the near term, always, always, I know. In February, when Google's AI Gemini was prompted to generate an image of a U.S. senator from the 1800s, the results were incorrect and comical. Users reported images ranging from a group of Asian men dressed in Western period attire to Native American women in their traditional garb. Google engineers with the proper programming skills had to fix the logic and data being used. No, Alex, I was joking, Cosmic. Alex.ai is not a actual AI. I was talking about my friend Alex up there who was helping me out with the the thing over here. I believe you, Alex. I'm sorry, Cosmic. I didn't mean to throw you off there. No, Alex is a streamer on Twitch. Twitch.tv Alex underscore. Is it, do you pronounce it prop? You put the zero in there just to be clever like the kids are today, like Tofu does. The rise of AI presents unparalleled opportunities to innovate and see, this is a question I have, Alex, is because you pronounced that, or no, never mind. Too early in the morning to be clever. The zero is because the O was taken. There's more than one Alex prop. Wild. Reminds me of an audio log you find in Subnautica of a doctor admitting he doesn't understand anything about diseases or infections because he's used the machines just telling him what to do. Well, that's another thing. Uh, to fully leverage AI's benefits, we must continue to teach our children the invaluable skills of coding. In doing so, we prepare them to thrive in a future where technology and creativity go hand in hand. Embrace AI and let us inspire the next generation to innovate and create like never before. Oh, and Ed Kim is Vice President of Education and Training at Code Ninjas, so he might have some idea what he's talking about. Discord, we're going to talk about Discord. Discord has become an unlikely center for the generative AI boom. In a video, or in the video, in what video? You can't say in the video. That's not how. I know, but then you need to put the tweet above when you say the, right? This is some basic writing shit right here. You know what I mean? You present things in a particular order. You don't present morning Red Hobbit. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you like and it's a simple fix. If they just used a instead of the, then it flows, right? You're fine. But because it's the is referring to in the English language something that has been introduced already. Kids today. I blame video games. In the video, a crowd is roaring at a packed summer music festival. As a beat starts playing over the speakers, the performer finally walks on stage. It's the Joker. Clad in his red suit, green hair, and signature face paint, the Joker pumps his fist and dances across the stage, hopping down a runway to get even closer to the sea of fans. When it's time to start rapping, the Joker flexes his knees and propels himself off the ground, bouncing up and down before doing a 360 turn on one foot. Okay. It looks effortless, and yet if you attempted the maneuver, you'd fall flat on your face. The Joker has never been this cool. And there's another video where NBA All Star Joel Embiid struts out from backstage to greet the crowd before nailing those same dance moves. And it's Curb Your Enthusiasm star Larry David. It almost feels like, Larry, like there was another paragraph before this talking about the video, and then that paragraph got cut, because then the rest of this flows, referring to that same video. Like the setup is just missing. But in each of these scenes, something is a bit off, whether it's the Joker, Joel Embiid, or Larry David. The performer's body is shaky while their facial expressions never change. Of course, this is all AI generated, thanks to a company called Vigil. The original video shows the rapper Little Yachty taking the stage at the Summer Smash Festival in 2021. According to the title of a YouTube video with more than 6.5 million views, this entrance is the hardest walkout ever. This turned into a trending meme format in April as people inserted their favorite celebrities or their favorite villains, like Sam Bankman Fried, into the video of Little Yachty taking the stage. And yes, I know it's Little Yachty. You don't have to correct me. It's just funnier when I say Yachty. Text to video AI offerings are getting scarily good, but you can't type Sam Bankman Fried as Little Yachty in the 2021 Summer Smash and expect Sora to know precisely what you mean. Vigil works differently. On Vigil's Discord servers, okay. So this is not referring to generative AI in general. This is speaking specifically about this particular tool. See, and there was you could really have done something with this, Amanda Silberling, Silberling, um, because there's a bunch of generative AI tools that use Discord in order to as like their platform rather than creating a website. Um, Couple examples, obviously, there's Viggle, but also Midjourney. Though Midjourney is transitioning to a website, they still have a firm foot in Discord. There's Pika Labs for the short video generation, that kind of stuff. But instead, this is just talking about a specific product. All right, we'll wrap it up real quick. On Viggle's Discord server, users upload a video of someone doing some sort of movement, often a TikTok dance, and a photo of a person. Then Viggle, AI Discord girlfriend, probably. Um, it sucks because I didn't realize I was getting like a product release kind of thing here, and this actually sounds like something that I might want to use uh, as part of the developing intro to the Glovis show. And now I'm mad about it. So yeah, you upload a video of someone doing some sort of movement, and then a photo of a person. Viggo creates a video of that person replicating the movements from the video. It's obvious that these videos aren't real, though they're still entertaining. But after a little Yachty meme went viral, Viggo got hot, and the hype hasn't subsided. We're focused on building what we call controllable video generation model. When we generate content, we want to control precisely how the character moves or how the scene looks. The current tools only focus on the text to video side, where the text itself is not sufficient to specify all the visual subtlety. So, this is like we talked about the idea of self filmmaking, right? Like being able to create something, you know, comparable to some of the higher budget stuff. One of the things you do um, in bigger budget movies is that you use like motion capture, right? Like usually like it's very expensive. You have suits, you have special cameras and all that kind of stuff. This is a first step. Obviously, this is very still early, um, but a first step to doing that. You could have your um, like in the framework of the stuntman type thing. Let's say you have a friend who can do some parkour, and you do a little video of them doing the parkour, and then you have your main actor, or if you're doing a comic book cartoon style thing, you have that picture, and then you can lay it over this character or this actor stuntman type thing. Trump parkour would be kind of hilarious. um yeah, and then be able to incorporate that into your movie. Again, still very early days, you're not going to get professional outcomes, but as long as everybody understands where everything is at, um it can still be fun, right? Like the entire meme culture and shit posting was built on really poorly made memes for the purposes of shit posting, but we all agreed that that was acceptable. You know what I mean? And by that tacit agreement of the audience and the creators, we all had a good time. In March, Viggle's Discord had a few thousand members. By mid May, there were 1.8 million members. And with June just days away, servers climbed to over 3 million members. It makes it larger than the servers for games like Valorant or Genshin Impact combined. Neat. So, this is an example of what I was just talking about with the cartoon type thing, right? Like, here's the picture, and then obviously this is some sort of motion, right? Runway model walk. Yeah. So in full disclosure, I will be checking this out because if I can get it to do the thing that I want to do, the idea that has been in my head, for the opening video to the Globus show combines two videos. There's the first one that I created with the Spice Must Flow, and that one I'm good with. But the Globus show one, I want some kind of like, fun, happy kind of video action to it, and I haven't really settled on something. So I will be checking this out to see what it does, and if it does things that I want it to do, then you will probably be seeing some updates to the opening video fairly soon. You have unlimited free articles left this month. Shout out to the Guardian, right? Like whatever else you want to say about the Guardian, the fact that they get it, right? You can ask for donations but provide the information. I will respect them for that, right? Shifting over to renewables. Increasing use of renewable energy in U.S. yields billions of dollars of benefits. New study published in Cell Reports Sustainability finds emission reductions provided $249 billion of climate and health benefits. I'm interested to see how they quantify that, but it sounds good. By increasing its use of renewable energy, the U.S. has not only slashed its planet warming emissions, but also improved its air quality, yielding hundreds of billions of dollars of benefits, a new report has found. The study, published in Cell Reports Sustainability on Wednesday and based on publicly available data, focuses on uptick of renewable energy in the U.S. from 2019 to 2022. And they do have a link to the study in here. No, I didn't want. Oh, it's in a Dropbox. Dropbox. So they're estimating avoided emissions by using wind and solar, which is 915 million tons of carbon dioxide, 525,000 tons of nitrogen oxides, and 468,000 tons of sulfur dioxide. So because they're estimates, some weenie is going to have a problem with this. But anywho, from 2019 to 2022, wind and solar generation increased by about 55%. By 2022, wind and solar provided roughly 14% of total electricity needs for the U.S. During that time period, by reducing the use of fossil fuel power plants, the nation's use of wind and solar power cut its carbon dioxide emissions by 900 million metric tons, the authors found. That's the equivalent of taking 71 million cars off the road every year. How many cars are in the U.S.? On the Glover Show. $283 million vehicles were registered in 2022. That's from Statista. So, not insignificant. Blah, blah, blah. During that time period, we did that. Those major climate benefits can obscure the air quality benefits renewable power yielded, wrote the authors. To eliminate those co-benefits, the researchers quantified how much the use of wind and solar reduced toxic air emissions, focusing specifically on sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxides, which are both produced during fossil fuel consumption. They found emissions of SO2 and NOx, both linked to increased asthma risk and a variety of other health issues, decreased by a total of 1 million metric tons over that 3-year period. To determine the impact of that reduction on public health, the authors used air quality models to track the population exposed to pollution from power plants. They also employed epidemiology. Epidemiology. Yeah, I know how to say this word.
Epidemiological.
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 Epidemiological. Thank you. The internet is amazing. Epidemiological research to examine the effects of those emissions and quantify the benefits of using an Environmental Protection Agency dollar value, establishing the value of reducing the risk of early death across the population. All told, the emission reduction from SO2 and NOx, I'm just saying, when the robot overlords come, I'm going to get a good spot at the human zoo. That's all I'm saying. Provided $249 billion of climate and health benefits to the U.S., the authors found. A figure Milstein said he found was noteworthy. The study went on to examine the benefits wind and solar offer to particular regions of the United States. Wind power, for instance, is particularly beneficial to the across the central states due to the displaced emissions on the local power grids. The same is true of solar power in the Carolinas. It's an aspect of the research that Jeremiah Johnson, a climate and energy professor at North Carolina State University, who did not work on the study, applauded. These findings can help us target future wind and solar development to provide the greatest climate and health benefits. Morning Eclipse Proton. So, yell. Mistral released Codestrol, its first generative AI model for code. Mistral, the French AI startup backed by Microsoft and valued at $6 billion, has released its first generative AI model for coding, dubbed Codestrol. Like other code generating models, Codestrol is designed to help developers write and interact with code. It was trained on over 80 programming languages, including Python, Java, C++, and JavaScript, explains Mistral in a blog post. Codestrol can complete coding functions, write tests, and fill in partial code, as well as answer questions about a code base in English. Mistral describes the model as open, but that's up for debate. The startup's license prohibits the use of Codestrol and its outputs for any commercial activity. There's a carve out for development, but even that has caveats. License goes on to explicitly ban any internal usage by employees in the context of the company's business activities. So, if you use it, you didn't use it, right? The reason could be that Codestral was trained partly on copyrighted content. Mistral didn't confirm or deny this in the blog post, but it wouldn't be surprising. There's evidence that the startup's previous training data sets contained copyrighted data. Codestral might not be worth the trouble in any case. At 22 billion parameters, the model requires a beefy PC in order to run. And while it beats the competition according to some benchmarks, which we know are unreliable, I love this. We first heard about the unreliability of the benchmarks watching AI explained, but now it's like it's common knowledge within the space. It's hardly a blowout. We did really good on human eval, or whatever that's worth. So yeah. While impractical for most developers and incremental in terms of performance improvements, Codestral is sure to fuel the debate over the wisdom of relying on code generating models as programming assistants. Developers are certainly embracing generative AI tools for at least some coding task. In a Stack Overflow poll from June of 2023, that's like 1,000 years ago, homie. 44% of developers said they use AI tools in their development process now, while 26% plan to soon. Yet these tools have obvious flaws. An analysis, an analysis of more than 150 million lines of code committed to project repos over the past several years by GitClear found that generative AI dev tools are resulting in more mistaken code being pushed to code bases. Okay, that is a sentence, right? Elsewhere, security researchers have warned that such tools can amplify existing bugs and security issues in software projects. Uh, Over half of the answers OpenAI's ChatGPT gives to programming questions are wrong, according to a study from Purdue. Um, the reason why this sentence threw me is that it's this is a matter of volume, but what I need here is a matter of percentage, right? The idea that people might be pushing out more code, um, and some of it being mistaken, follows because it's like you have the ability to do more code. But as a percentage, has it gone up or down or what have you? Let's take a look and see if they tell us. Downward pressure on code quality. Developers who use GitHub Copilot completed their tasks significantly faster, 55% faster than those who didn't. These are links to other things. We find disconcerting trends for maintainability. Code churn, the percentage of lines, this is what I needed, the percentage of lines that are reverted or updated less than 2 weeks after being authored is projected to double in 2024. So it's a projection compared to its 2021 pre-AI baseline. We further find that the percentage of added code or copy-pasted code is increasing in proportion to updated, deleted, and moved code. In this regard, AI generated code resembles an itinerant contributor, prone to violate the dryness, don't repeat yourself, of the repos visited. Okay, so is it a problem? Sure, I'll give you that it's a problem. But it's also a question of it sounds like people are putting stuff out without doing their due diligence, right? Rather than, because the percentage of lines that are reverted or updated less than 2 weeks after being authored. So they're paying attention to what their code does, but they're not doing it before release. So that's a problem. Again, it's a problem with the humans, but it's a problem. And let's take a look at this one. GitHub Copilot replicating vulnerabilities in insecure code. Research from SNCC shows that AI assistants such as GitHub Copilot, which offer code completion suggestions, often amplify existing bugs and security issues in a user's code base. Blog post. It's important to recognize that generative AI coding assistants like Copilot don't understand code semantics and as a result cannot judge it. Essentially, the tool mimics code that it previously saw during its training. Put simply, when Copilot suggests code, it may inadvertently replicate, here's our operator, inadvertently replicate code, existing security vulnerabilities and bad practices present in the neighbor files. This can lead to insecure coding practices and open the door to a wide range of security vulnerabilities. Morning towards night. So yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm being nitpicky here, but again, we're still in the it doesn't always work right AI hallucination environment. Hopefully, this Google Agree framework is going to provide us with benefits to minimize that kind of stuff. And the question then comes up is in the matter of how, like, again, you know me, I don't have an issue with using copyrighted content to train the AIs. But the question is, what are they using, right? Are they using best quality data? Are they using good code? If there's good code in the data set, in the training data set, then that's going to produce better outcomes than if they just use all the code that's available on the internet. I guess coders don't see the benefit of it if it's not a button that magically fixes stuff without needing to verify. Um, Coders are like anybody else. They have pressures and often have to do magic beyond what humans are capable of doing in a linear time progression. So I would say a little of column A and a little from column B. I'm not going to say that, coders are perfect, but also coders are human just like everybody else. Obviously, like we're looking at, people writing articles on the internet who can't be bothered to simply read their article and make sure that it flows properly, right? So, who am I going to yell at? Everybody? If everybody's got a problem, then maybe everybody doesn't have a problem. It's just the nature of who we are at this point in the universe. I love this picture. This is uh, your boy was a fan of the fingerless gloves. Those of you who have seen my hype videos for uh, my WWE 2K23 wrestler may have noticed that he wears fingerless gloves. It was a thing. I don't wear them now, but at the time it was a vibe, okay? We had cell phones, then feature phones, then smartphones. Now IntelliPhones are coming. The first cell phone came out in the early 1980s. It was connected to a cellular radio system and didn't require a physical connection to a network. And we had feature phones. These connected to the internet and could store and play music. Apple ushered in the smartphone era with location data, fancy cameras, and the all important App Store. Is AI about to launch a new chapter? Do you remember Intellivision? Are you aware of Intellivision? Because that would add a layer to that joke that I appreciate. Uh, is AI about to launch a new chapter? Analysts at Bank of America Securities think so, and they've come up with a new name for this future device. No, the bankers don't get to come up with names, sir. The Intelliphone. Yes, it's an awful name. Too many syllables. No one's ever going to say it. I've said it more today than I'd expect to ever have said it. Ugh, I can't find my Intelliphone. Have you seen it? People will just say phone. People have always just said phone. Um, Very rarely do people like focus on smartphone and cell phone and like that. They say phone. It's a phone. It's a phone that does stuff. However, artificial intelligence models, chatbots, and other AI powered applications could get so you. There's the operator. Somebody's just writing an article out here. Um, Mobile, yeah, but instead of phone, you say mobile, right? There was a point in time where, like, I think people said cell, um, but you're like, yeah, um, stop nibbling me, sir. Don't be cute. God phone. um, yeah, could get so useful that our current smartphones might look kind of dumb in the future. Yes. Don't fall off me either because you've already scratched me, sir. Maybe no one will have to ask where their telephone is because it will somehow find itself. Context awareness will be a key. Um, it will be the key differentiator. Uh, Wamsi Mohan, an analyst at Bank of America Securities, wrote in a research note on Wednesday that listed a number of future capabilities that may take these gadgets way beyond current handsets. Hype warning. A word of caution here, the AI hype cycle is in overdrive right now. And Mohan and his colleagues were writing a research note about Apple ahead of WWDC conference next month. Yeah. The company is expected to unveil a whole slew of new AI features for iPhones at this event. But it's common for Wall Street analysts to issue positive research and buy recommendations in instances like these. I do appreciate this right here, explaining exactly what's going on in that article. So, shout out to Alistair Barr. Still, Mohan makes a compelling argument. If AI tools on phones can really set them apart from current devices, consumers have a new reason to buy a fresh handset. We see the introduction of AI smartphones, IntelliPhones, as a once in a decade upgrade event. Okay. At Google's I/O conference earlier this month, the internet giant showed off several new AI capabilities for Pixel, Samsung, and other Android phones. Some once in a generation moment to reinvent what phones can do. We are going to seize that moment, he says. Consumers will only embrace these new devices if they're actually useful in everyday situations. True. Google has already shown off some of these new killer applications. Talking about you, not to you. Um, Already shown off some of these killer apps for AI. Apple will have to show off more of these powerful use cases at WWDC if it's going to keep up. Mohan at BOFA describes a wide range of new capabilities that could set in telephones apart. Stop trying to make fetch happen, homie. From smartphones and fire up the mother of all upgrade cycles. We view the upcoming AI enabled phones and telephones, they just keep driving it in there, to drive a multi year upgrade cycle similar to the step function improvement driven by the introduction of smartphones. Um, so here's some of the capabilities that these BOFAs think that are going to be added to the phones. Context aware assistance context-aware assistance. AI-enabled phones will offer more advanced personal assistance that understand context better and provide more relevant and timely responses. Proactive suggestions. These assistants could proactively suggest actions based on user patterns. Object and scene recognition. These phones can identify objects, people, and scenes in photos and suggest actions like sharing, searching for more information, or buying related products. Real time translation. AI capable phones offer real time language translation, making communication easier while traveling or interacting with people who speak different languages. Predictive health alerts. AI could predict potential health issues by analyzing patterns and collected data and alert users to seek medical advice if needed. AI driven content creation. Users may be able to create more immersive and engaging AR VR content with the help of AI tools on phones that simply simplify the creation process and enhance the final output. Music haptics. AI could refine vibrations from music to improve the experience for phone users who are deaf or hard of hearing. And vocal shortcuts. AI could recognize speech patterns and improve speech recognition for users with conditions that affect speech, such as cerebral palsy or those who have suffered a stroke. Users could also assign custom utterances that Siri can understand to launch shortcuts and complete complex tasks. Fair enough. Sounds reasonable. There's nothing in there that's like too out of pocket. Everything sounds like it's um, really close to what we have now. On the Globus Show, fun to learn and grow. Is it fun? Are you having fun? Are you learning? Are you growing? Finally, from the leftists over at Forbes, why not invest directly in families? It works. Do I think we already have the killer AI apps? No. No. I think that there are useful tools out there, um, but ultimately, like there's nothing about them that is going to set them apart enough from what we currently commonly use, right? Um, in the same way that the Rabbit R1, the 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 Rabbit R1 that we were promised, um, was an app rather than a tool. Um, the majority of AI tools that we currently have and use are tools and assistants rather than like, a killer app, a thing in and of itself that changes how we interact with the world. I think we're on that path, but I don't think we're there yet. Good morning, Nemesis. Um, in the cloud, if you have a constant online connection. Oh, with the AI stuff. Yeah. Because it's not going to run it locally, 100%. The thing I find most disconcerting is the capitalism aspect, because there will be vast numbers of people disenfranchised because of cost. No. I mean, I don't mean no. I mean, look at the current environment, right? There will a similar trends. And when I say no, I mean similar trends. The a cell phone, right? A smartphone. Um, Initially thousands and thousands of dollars. Now a whole bunch of people have them, right? Depending on where you are in your location, everything else, a lot of other circumstances, right? Like um, that kind of thing, right? The early adopters are going to pay the highest price. Good morning, Reed. As time goes on, that price will go down, right? The What you can get in a TV now for $400 is significant, you know, versus what that same TV would have cost 5, 6 years ago. So that's ultimately what the same thing that's going to happen with any of these other tools, right? The early adopters pay the highest price and get the lowest quality, and as time goes on, it becomes more and more affordable as it begins to run its scale. That's how this works. Um, Nemesis notable exception is Samsung's photo enhancement AI, which is small and runs on Adreno, which is of course Radeon. Yeah, so yes, or Tesla. Rabbit R1 app that worked as advertised could be huge. It would have been huge, right? If the humane pin had been a peripheral that you could buy to enhance your phone. And had they done an Apple with it, right? Had they been able to get an exclusive deal with Apple as a peripheral to your phone, the Apple Pin would have been huge, right? Or at least it would have sold well. I don't know about huge, but it would have sold well, right? You would have had people with their Vision Pro and their AI Pin and their Apple phone all in this this self ecosystem, and it would have been like it would have popped off. But instead, because they tried to make the humane pin some future tech that is separate from the cell phone, that's why it did that's one of the reasons why it failed, right? So close and yet so far. All right. So, why not invest directly in families? It works. Dr. Aisha Nyandoro in Jackson, Mississippi. That's why I'm saying I toned it back down as far as popping off. It sold well for the people who were going to buy such a thing. I think its price is still high for mass adoption. I think that once the Vision Pro gets to around $1,000 at release, and you can buy it in the same way that you can buy an iPad, on a 24-month plan through your cell phone provider, that's when Vision Pro will like achieve um you know uh, not a market saturation, but like it will become more present, right? And if you can imagine it, right, you go to Verizon or what have you, and you walk in and you get the full set, right? You get the Apple iPhone, I don't even know what they're on now, but let's say 18, right? Whatever is correct. You get your Apple iPhone 18, you get your Apple Pin, and you get your Apple Vision Pro, and it's all a single package, and they're all working together and to give you the best outcomes and everything else, right? You can leave your phone in your pocket or wherever it is, and in order to interact with the phone, you can tap on the pin, and then if you need a display, it can display up in your Vision Pro, and like there's a whole reason to do that. It basically takes the idea of a light, like almost a Chromebook, right? The idea of the Chromebook being that light laptop does some stuff kind of thing and makes it this wearable experience, which Apple people love experiences, right? So now I've got all my stuff, it all works together, but it's light. I got both my hands free. I can just tap the pin, it does the thing. I can talk to it. I got my display if I need big displays. I can move stuff like that, tapping the pin to connect to the AI so I can ask it AI questions with my voice while I'm doing, that kind of stuff. I mean, that's one way to look at it, Cosmic, but this is technology. You're already interacting with Big Brother. Anything you do on this box, somebody knows. I'm all for wearables, but I don't need the glasses. That thing should reside on my shoulder and look for itself. I mean, I feel you. It's not for everyone, but I could see it as a thing. Because I, for one, I want glasses that do nifty shit. I've never been too hot on VR. VR AR HUD units has always seemed like just a neat gimmick, but I don't know if it will ever get ubiquitous like TVs, phones, or wristwatch. I don't know. Watches went out of fashion, right? That's the thing. People used to wear watches all the time. Then they went out of fashion. Then with the smartwatch, they came back. So, which one is correct? Depends on where you're standing. Um, so yeah, like I would absolutely be sporting smart glasses as part of this process right here, right? If instead of using this separate phone to monitor my stream, I had a little video of my stream in the corner of my eye so I could see if there's anything going on, that'd be cool, right? This kind of stuff. This is just a really basic um, okay, you're biting me and you're biting my arms. Hey, you need to go do something else. So yeah, I understand, Larry. It might not be for you. It might not be the thing that you want. And that what Google Glass kind of did, and people using it in public gave everyone a bad impression of people who have it. This is something that happens like all the time. I understand, but like at the same time, you can't bite my soft bits, Cosmic. Especially not when I'm streaming. Um, yeah, I don't know. People like think about the man bun, right? I understand that people have strong opinions on the man bun and joke and do everything else, but what did the man bun actually do to anyone, right? It's just one of those things that we all decided collectively, uh, as a society, we were going to make fun of. It didn't stop people who wanted to wear a man bun from wearing a man bun. Um, that kind of thing. Um, there's just stuff that, or look at, who is it? Nickelback, right? Collectively as a society, we make fun of Nickelback. But Nickelback is a quite successful band, and a lot of people have their music. So, I don't know. First iterations tend not to be as great. As things get refined, it will become more successful, acceptable. Good. Like, it could definitely be a thing where people just, you know, there are those who adopt and those who make fun of the adopters. Like, all the things I was just talking about, you know? If you enjoy it, if it makes you happy, it can't be that bad, right? That's where I fall on the entire thing. Even like occasionally, like last night in Talorks, I was busting the chops of the Canadians because of their pizza, you know. But it was like intended to be all in good fun, right? It was a space where like those kind of things. So like, what weird kid who stepped on kittens? And good morning, old lobster. That's how you come into a chat. I imagine kind of something in your smartphone using a Bluetooth mic camera earbuds combination, advising the user whilst he or she is, let's say, shopping like 2 streets farther, you can buy this product for half the price. Yeah, that could be something. Or for school, did you notice the third calculation you made had a mistake in it? That would be really cool, right? But again, how does it see that, right? At that point, you need glasses, because it needs to see what you're seeing. So that's the kind of thing why I think glasses will, at some point in time, you know, be accepted. And I understand the issues of like Big Brother, cameras on the glasses, that kind of stuff. I don't think that that's going to prevent adoption. I just don't. Google Glass had a similar reputation as Bluetooth headsets. Talking out loud to it makes people inherently come across as deranged or arrogant. Um, yes, right? Like because it got associated with who are you talking about, old lobster? Did you have a weird kid in 5th grade who ate live goldfish? You are popping off. Um, like I'm missing a valuable clue, is what I'm saying. You said it can't be that bad if it makes you happy. It's a song, dude. The joke is that it's a song. If it makes you happy, why the hell are you so sad? Oh, in the song? If that is the case, then there's a layer there that I oh okay, we're on two different levels here. Anyways, back to the purpose of why we're all here. This idea you are going to oh Jesus Christ. That is unacceptable. You yeah, Nemesis, to what you were talking about. I need right. That's where I was at, Red Hobbit, and then old lobster comes in with his trauma. You're gonna need to be able to look at the AI needs to be able to look at whatever it is that you're looking at, which implies glasses, right? Or implies like, you know, like a device that attaches to a hat, but then you got to be wearing a hat, right? Glasses just are the most convenient, most what glasses, whether regular glasses or sunglasses, are relatively ubiquitous in society. Not everyone wears them, but a lot of people do, to the point where it's common, right? It's just the camera aspect is going to throw some people for some amount of time, but people tend to get used to this kind of stuff, right? Like it's just from the Big Brother aspect, we already live in that world. There's cameras literally everywhere. There's so much data. If you have a cell phone, somebody knows where you are. Needs to be some physical cue that you are speaking to a device rather than speaking out loud to people around you. It's too awkward otherwise. Um, I mean, I run into it myself a while back. Somebody was on their phone, you know, with the earpiece, and I thought they were talking to me because I was working at a, you know, what you call it? The plant place where you go, you buy plants. Nursery, thank you. Um, I was working at a nursery and they started talking, and I have to do customer service, so I'm aware of anybody asking me questions, but they were talking to somebody on the thing. Um, I don't know. I don't know how big a deal it is. Maybe some people experience it more often than others. No nemesis, but what we're looking at is we're looking at something like how the before Omni chatbot interacted with people. Right, you're doing it remote. That's what it is. It's just you need that through line from me to the AI to the home base back to the AI back to me. Right? It just needs to be fast. And we can do that. We have all the technology. It just needs to be rolled out and implemented. Um I mean, we're getting to the point where there's a lot of this technology that, like, if you want people to adopt it, bro, you're going to have to invest in some infrastructure yourself, like Google's fiber shit and everything else. It's just, if you want people to use this magical new technology, then you're going to have to run some infrastructure yourself. You're going to have to work that shit out. Anyhow, um, investing directly in families. Um, Dr. Aisha Nyandoro in Jackson, Mississippi, has designed and implemented the longest running guaranteed income initiative in the United States called the Magnolia Mothers Trust. It's a template for cash disbursement programs introduced nationally, such as the Child Tax Credit. The child tax credit is not a cash disbursement program. I reject the comparison. It is specifically a tax credit. That this is a form of means testing, and I hate it. Ashoka's Angelo Izelio spoke with Nyandoro about why direct investment in families works and what's ahead for similar efforts. Let's start with some level setting for the uninitiated. What's guaranteed income? It's cash with no strings attached. And this is why the child tax credit is not guaranteed income. It's not any of these things. It's cash with no strings attached, a specific amount given to a specific population over a specific duration. It's not the same as universal basic income, by the way. Guaranteed income has been tried successfully in other countries, Brazil for one. And in the U.S., President Nixon, as well as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and welfare activist Johnny Tillman, a mom, called for guaranteed income as a way to solve poverty, but it was never put into practice here. Until now, we should say. Tell us how your pilot in Jackson, Mississippi is unique. When we started in 2018, we were the first program in modern U.S. history to do a guaranteed income and the first to center our efforts on the needs of black women, black mothers specifically. The story is too often, oh, they're not working or they're not working hard enough. But this is not true. The income gap, racial wealth gap, education gap, and generational poverty have come together to make it virtually impossible for so many black women to exit poverty. Thinking of compensation alone, black women make an average 61% what white men make. So we are providing low income black mothers with the thing that they most need, which is cash, and trusting them to make the choices they alone can make for themselves and their family. Your point about trust in supporting agency, it seems like the opposite of the current social safety net. That's right. Our social safety net is neither safe nor a net. It's actually punitive, with a lot of needless bureaucracy. I I love you. For example, if you're trying to secure benefits for your family, you may have to spend an entire day at the office of your caseworker just to fill out the paperwork, have the meeting. So, in that time, you missed work, time with your kids, time you need to organize your life. Doesn't have to be this way. Certainly not in a tech age when everything from renting a movie to getting a mortgage is 1, 2 clicks on a smartphone. One of the things, remarkable things you're showing with guaranteed income is that the most straightforward approach, direct investment to vulnerable families, end up being the most effective. How did you
We are the board.
go?
Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Resistance is futile.
What up, Raiders? What up, Levelhead? I'm Globus the Elder. I talk about AI, robots, and automation, future tech, that kind of thing. Um, what up, El? Where did this, like, you got a whole little group of people coming in. Um, I was actually just wrapping up. I was reading this article about guaranteed income, and then I was going to raid out. So, got Sleepy Chatters, and then Stampy came to visit. So, say hi, Stampy. Say hi to the Raiders, Stampy. All right, so let's do this article, and then I will locate some place to take you. Um, so basically, this is Aisha Nyandoro, Jackson, Mississippi, Magnolia Mothers Trust. It's guaranteed income as opposed to universal basic income, and it focuses primarily on black women and black mothers. Springboard, the larger organization I founded and lead, has been operating for 11 years, and during our first 5 years, I became concerned that despite all of the wraparound support we were providing to families, we were not moving the needle on poverty. We were not seeing families exit affordable housing communities, which is important to us because it's important to our families. They tell us they want to own a home, live in market rate housing, not to have to worry about somebody coming into their apartment complex and doing checks. So, since we are an organization that leads with trust, we went out to our families and said, "We know that we're missing something. What is it?" That ended up to be a great prompt, and mothers started to tell us the stories of their lives. We heard, "Oh, I'm really stressed because my daughter made it to the next level of the science fair and I don't have the $25 registration fee to enroll her." Or, "I have a job, but my car broke down and now I have to wait until tax season before I have the money to get it fixed." Or, "I'm having to depend on my cousin to drive me to and from work, and that's really stressful." So, relatively small things in some cases. Exactly. When we analyzed the data, we saw that the majority of needs could be solved by relatively small amounts of money, given with no restrictions. That's when we started researching, well, how do you just give people cash? And discovered the global context for this idea. In parallel, I had pulled together a roundtable of our moms, and for 6 months, these women would come to our office and sit around our conference table for what we called dreaming sessions. I was very honest with them. I told them, I don't know if I can get it done, but if I were to design an opportunity to just give you money, what would it look like? So everything about the Magnolia Mothers Trust was designed by and with these women. I just got to listen. I was willing, I understood power dynamics, and could build a plan. I have to also add that it was a privilege to support these moms who work incredibly hard keep their families afloat. What broke my heart most was that they didn't see themselves as good mothers because they couldn't say yes to all the dreams of their kids. The research we found said we needed to do 24 months, but one of our moms pushed back with, I really just would like it to be 12 months because I don't want to become dependent. So today we provide low income mothers in Jackson, Mississippi with $1,000 per month, no strings attached, for 12 months. Also, every child of participating mother receives a $1,000 deposit into a 529 savings account, a key investment in that child's financial future and freedom in adulthood. Ever since we started, I've said that federal policy would be the route for this idea. Now, besides Magnolia Mothers Trust, there are over 150 guaranteed income pilots being run in some form or fashion within the United States. And we have a blueprint that helps us all see what scale looks like, the 2021 Child Tax Credit. It's both a blueprint and litmus test for guaranteed income within the context of the U.S. The U.S. has been fighting this war on poverty for over 5 decades, and after just 6 months of the child tax credit, we saw child poverty drop by half. Because for the first time, we were all. I'm sorry. Last question. You said that the pandemic was an opportunity. Why? Because for the first time, we were all paying attention. COVID shutdowns affected everyone in all our economies and jobs. And this allowed us to pull back the veil and have very honest conversations about how financially vulnerable we all are. We couldn't just say, oh, this happened to that family over there because it was happening to a lot of us, our neighbors, our family, our friends. While devastating in many respects, of course, the pandemic also became an opportunity to build empathy, change systems within this country, see what the new policies like the child tax credit can look like, begin to shift the narrative on poverty. We stop blaming individuals and instead focus on the real causes of poverty, the systemic failures that require collective responsibility and collective imagination to solve. I love Anisha Nyandoro. 100% love Aisha Nyandoro. It is guaranteed income programs always work. I highly recommend. There's a lot of people in here now, apparently. This is probably the biggest number of viewers I have ever had. Um, and I'm going to recommend some reading. There's homework, right? Find a copy of Debt the First 5,000 Years. It's very easy to read. It's very approachable. It's good stuff. And this system is not the way that's the other book. You should also read the Dictator's Handbook. I need a book too. Yes, you're right. I've talked about debt the first 5,000 years enough, and I need to add it to the list. Anywho, read this book. This is not the way that most of like historically speaking we have run stuff. It is like we had more credit, not in the current sense of credit, like for the credit markets and stuff like that, but we had credit as a form of extension of mutual aid, right? And it wasn't credit like you're keeping detailed accounts necessarily. It was much more free flowing, and even when you kept accounts, it was much more free flowing. We can change the system because there is precedent. There is a different system that we could have. Where did all you people come from? That I don't appreciate every single one of you. It's just wild. Just flowing around the internet. Where should I flow you? I'm Globus the Elder. None of you hit the follow button, but you should. I am entertaining. I talk about AI, robots, what have you. I need to update my firmware. So yeah. That's what it says. That's what it says, homie. Anyways, gonna raid out. I go live Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. I think I'm just gonna throw it over to Gremlo. It'll be impressive. I'll drop 200 viewers on Gremlo, and then maybe Gremlo will respect me. As opposed to thinking I'm just a cute little baby streamer. So stick around for the raid, and then if you got someplace else to go, you can go. We'll keep this train running. I'll be back tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. I'm good to have on in the background. That's just how I roll. Like you don't have to participate in chat. We just have good talks. There's a lot of good people. This is the best community on Twitch, and you can be part of it. Anywho, in the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you've forgotten. Always remember that Shoggy loves you. So do I. Be great.